Hey guys, welcome back to Rooted in Jesus. It is Sheridan here, your host. Since Valentine's Day is right around the corner, I thought it would be fitting to talk about singleness. If you guys have been following this podcast for a while, you guys know that I'm 26 and I'm still single, have been for a while. And we're just going to be talking about navigating singleness. We're also going to be talking about hoping in God for a future husband. I'm going to share about my journey, how I've lost hope in believing for a future husband and trying to regain that hope and starting to believe for that, even though it's been so many years. But if that sounds interesting to you, just keep on listening and watching. So, I guess without further ado, let's get started and let's hop on into the podcast. Okay, so this is part one. Chapter 1, I guess we could say, of this portion of the video. Here were my expectations growing up with love. At 15, almost 16, there was a boy that I was really interested in, and he was interested in me. And there were parts, I'm trying to tell you guys without, I don't even know if he watches my stuff. But I'm trying to tell you guys about the relationship without giving away who the person is. But I'm sure if the person was watching this, he would know. So, there was this boy that I really, really liked, and he liked me. Even though how the relationship ended, he said he didn't like me, but you cannot ignore the signs. I'm just saying, you can't ignore the signs. So this boy would do really sweet gestures, and this would have been a long distance relationship had we progressed into an actual relationship. He would show up at different places, and I would not be expecting it, and I felt like I was in a movie. I felt like, oh my goodness, this boy loves me so much. He surprises me at these places. He doesn't live here. And when I was with him, I just felt, like I was the only girl in the room. And it was a sweet little crush, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But in my crazy delusional mind, I thought I was going to grow up and marry this boy. Like I said, I was 15 at the beginning, and then I think just turned 16, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to marry this person. Nope. That was not how it turned out. And it ended in heartbreak because me and this boy were talking all the time. I really wanted to make the long distance thing work. But basically, this boy basically said he didn't have feelings for me and didn't feel the same way. Which, I'm just saying, I think he got scared. I know that there was definitely something there. I just think we were young and he may have gotten scared about the idea, but it is what it is. But that did hurt my heart, just being real and honest. I make light of this now, but in the moment when that happened, that was a very heartbreaking thing for me because in my delusional 16-year-old mind, I made up this whole way our lives were going to go. And I had it all planned out in my mind. I thought this, and this was going to happen. And I was like, I saw a future with him and all this, but that was not how it happened, and it broke my little 16-year-old heart. And, you know, there really is something about your first love. I will say it in air quotes because, you can call it what you want to, but I know how I felt about that. Not relationship, but almost what could have been. And it hurt. It really did hurt my little heart. So, I'm just going to be real with that. Looking back on all of that, I know I was not ready for a relationship like that, and I know it was what was best, but still, it does hurt your heart when you go through a almost relationship kind of a thing, and you know what you felt. And my expectations of relationships, I feel like thankfully I started my walk with God during those, years. So if I were to have gotten into a relationship, I had like godly standards. God knows what's best for you, and He has a plan and He has a purpose. And I just have always dreamed of, being a wife and a mom. I love kids, and we'll get more into that as we move on to the next section. But I really love kids and always have wanted them. And yeah. And as we go through our Christian walk, as a woman, you want a provider and a protector and a godly man who's going to lead you closer to the Lord. So that's always been something that I wanted. And definitely after following Jesus, my expectations of what a godly relationship, went up, of course. But yeah, so I guess let's move on to the next chapter. So a few years go by. So after that heartbreak, like I said, I was like 16, I think, when all that ended, or almost 17 when that ended. And then I go to work at Bible camp at the age of 18. With that, I thought in my mind, oh, this is the perfect place to meet my husband. And I will just tell you, there were a lot of guys that were good guys that I was interested in, and there was even some crushes going on in that circle of guys. But, nothing progressed, nothing went anywhere. Um, and I will tell you that some of my friends that were counselors there did end up meeting their husbands there. And I'm just saying, that's kind of a knife to the heart when other people that are counselors with you meet their husbands there and you don't. You feel less than, you feel like, why not me? Is there something wrong with me? Why? You think that. After that, having a few crushes here and there on some of the boys that worked there, and those things not working out, being like, God, am I going to be single forever? Trying to come to terms with that and be like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to be single forever. Maybe God doesn't have a husband for me. And the hope of that kind of slowly gets farther and farther away. You see, oh, there's guys around me, and holding on to that little ounce of hope. And then, it doesn't work out. And then you're like, okay. And then to put the cherry on top, seeing other people get engaged that worked with you, and also seeing them get married. And now, years down the road, a lot of those people have kids, and you're like, okay, there's no man in sight. Also, in 2019, when I was going to church at a different church than I'm at now, there was tons of young men around, and like there was crushes and things like that, but just nobody pursued me. I would talk to people, and then I would be like, nah, not the person for me, and stuff like that. So I kind of had a reality check after that, and as the years have went on, through COVID and all that, seeing people have kids and all of that, I'm like, okay, I guess singleness is just where I'm at, and I guess I'm gonna just have to accept that. And during these years leading up, I've always tried to be, okay in my singleness and enjoy the moments, the freedom, and all of that. But I feel like after 2019, the bitterness towards singleness kind of built up. I used to have a prayer journal where I would pray for my future husband, definitely in those early teens. But as I got into my 20s, that wall, it was just kind of hard to keep praying for that future husband because you're like, there's nobody in sight. You kind of just hit a wall and lose that hope. And you get your hopes built up if you meet somebody at church or you meet somebody at camp and then that doesn't turn into a relationship. Those kind of hits can make you be like, okay, well, maybe I should just forget about it. Maybe I should just not want this anymore. Maybe I should just push these desires that I have down and say, accept your singleness. You're always going to be single. All of that. So, the positives of embracing my singleness, I've learned to just find joy in the little things. And this is a positive. This is something that I've really been doing throughout these years, but haven't been doing these things perfectly, of course, because I'm human. But some of those things is just, like I said, finding joy in the little things. Nature, I love seeing nature photography, videography. Also throwing myself into my hobbies like YouTube. I have this channel, an ASMR channel, a vlog channel. I have my rabbits that I love and that I love to find joy in them. And my family, time with them, time at the lake, just things like that have really kept me, just excited about life. Just taking joy in the mundane task and trying to use this time wisely. I used to not know how to cook very good, and in these years of singleness, I've tried to uh, build my skills of cooking and stuff like that. Enjoying time with family, because realizing that whether I'm single the rest of my life or not, I want to spend time with my family and I want to embrace every moment because nothing is promised, nothing is guaranteed. So find joy in that and embrace every moment that you have with the people that you love. So those are things that are positives that I have truly embraced during this time of singleness, but I feel like I've also done other things to try to distract from wanting and desiring a godly relationship, trying to push and bury that deep. Some negative things that I've done throughout my singleness is being careful to watch like couples channels and things like that. Um, like godly Christian couple channels. Sometimes I had to just turn it off and not look at it because it would make me sad because, thinking I may never have that. Um, and also, another thing that I would used to not watch is people talking about their kids and stuff because that would make me upset because thinking I may never have kids. So things like that were something that I kind of just pushed and I was like, I don't want to look at that. Don't want to hear about that. Because it was that, ooh, that's painful, that hurts. And stopping praying for my future husband was something that I did. Not writing in my prayer journal about it because I was like, what's the point? Yeah, so those are some negative things that I did during the time of, you know, trying to embrace my singleness But those were the negative things that I did. So that's the positive and the negative. Okay, so if you guys watch my normal videos on this channel that the podcast is on, I talked about my word of the year. My word of the year is hope. And God told me that, like, I felt it in my spirit that that was my word. I think right before the new year came. But also, I'm trying to remember the time frame. I think it was before Christmas. I am a part of a Bible study group with Sister Sandy, if you guys know who she is. She has Bible studies, and she was talking about marriage, and she was talking about, a godly husband, and like different types of men. She's been talking about, I think she had one about marriage strictly. And then she had one the next week that was about different types of men. But the one about marriage really struck me. And I messaged her about it the next day, I think. That I really needed to hear what the Bible study was talking about godly marriage and stuff like that. Because I've stopped hoping for godly marriage. I just kind of pushed it to the side and just said, that's probably not for me. Opened up to her about feeling like I don't deserve marriage. And it's not necessarily, me thinking, oh, I've done X, Y, and Z wrong, so I don't deserve it. No, it's hard to explain, but sometimes I just feel like marriage isn't for me because I don't deserve it, and I don't know the exact reasoning behind that. But that's something that I struggled with, and I had to tell her, the message that she was talking about was something that I needed to hear. We were talking about the chapter in Scripture where it says, husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And she was talking about godly men and their character. And she was talking about how we as wives are called, how we are to be as wives. So, in the character and all of that. So, that really just struck me hard. And I'm like, I know there are good men out there, but sometimes it's just so hard to believe and hope again. And then after that Bible study, I think that was close to Christmas, so pretty soon after that, God gave me the word of hope, and He told me, basically, I felt it in my spirit that He was telling me, you need to start praying again when you feel led to. I don't want to become obsessive about praying for my future husband. I don't want to do that. But the Lord is healing those parts of me that are broken, the parts of me that have lost hope for this in my life. And He's doing, He's just restoring that in me. And it's a beautiful thing. So I've just felt it in my spirit that the Lord is wanting me to pray for my future husband when I feel led. I know the Lord doesn't want me to obsess about it and obsess about marriage and be like, every time I see somebody that's a Christian, that's a boy that, is somewhere near me, oh, that's my future husband. So what I would tell anybody out there that is single is to not lose hope. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. Also, I want people to know not to compare their season to someone else's. Because when you're a girl and you're single, you can compare yourself to these young, godly couples that, are getting married. Because there's some people that I know that got married really young, like at 20 or even younger sometimes. And you're like, why am I over here still single at 26? So I just want to say, don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't let your age discourage you from hoping and believing. And the truth of the matter is, I have to accept it, and you have to accept it. We may never get married. We don't know. But God has called us, He has called us to believe and to trust no matter what happens. So when I pray for my future husband, I say, Lord, if he is out there, I pray this, this, and this over him. Because I don't know. Singleness is a gift, even if you hate hearing that. I used to hate hearing that. I used to be like, this is not a gift, you know? But it truly is. There's so much freedom and beauty in it, but there's also beauty in marriage too. So don't wish your season away. If you're single, embrace it. And if you're married, embrace that season too. And don't just try to live your life in a hurry. You know, let's hurry up and get to the next season. Let's hurry up and get to the next season. You know, embrace the stage of life that you're in. Also, I just want to share with you guys what to do in a season like this. And I'm still in the healing process, and I'm trusting God to heal me and to heal my heart from this, you know, trying to bury my feelings. When you're in this state of wanting marriage and desiring marriage, pray about that. The word tells us to pray about everything. So, we as Christians are called to go to God with our every feeling. If we want marriage and a family one day, and we're feeling it on our heart so strongly, maybe you saw a post or something that made you be like, I really want that. Um, just go to God and say, Lord, I really do want marriage. I really do want a future family one day. Lord, lead me, guide me, direct me. Prepare my heart. Prepare the heart of the person that I'm going to be with. Prepare them and let us meet in your perfect timing. And just help us to grow stronger in you. Put you first so that when we enter that relationship, we can glorify you and honor you the best in that, and we will be, you know, able to overcome whatever the enemy may throw our way. Because to be real, to be honest, you know, the enemy does not like marriage, especially godly marriage. He does not like. So I want to be strong, rooted, and grounded in the Lord when and if I meet that future husband. And I want that future husband to definitely be rooted in Jesus and strong in his faith, so he can lead me, because that is his, you know, role as a husband, to lead you to Christ and to lead your family. Another thing that I've done to heal a little bit, I used to have a list of, you know, characteristics and things that I wanted for my future husband. I probably still have it somewhere in a journal. Don't know which journal, but something that I felt, you know, a prompt to do was to write out a new list of things that I want in a future husband, with things that are non-negotiables and things that are just, you know, that would be nice, you know. None of it's looks based. Some of it's personality based. And just like hobbies and things like that based. But those are some of the, you know, would be nice things. It's not something that I can't slide on. But character things are things that, nope, I'm not sliding on that. I'm not backing down from those. Those are the things. So I have those things, and then I have, like, I would like if my future husband liked music and likes animals. That's stuff like that. Not a deal breaker, but those are just some would be nice things. But that was something that I had to do to just, start believing again, start hoping again. My biggest encouragement to anybody out there who is single, whether you've been single all your life like me, or you've just been in different seasons of singleness and you're currently in a single season, I would just encourage you to pray, pray, pray. Read your Bible, get closer to Jesus. Jesus is ultimately supposed to be our first love. We are supposed to fix our eyes on Jesus. He's the author and finisher of our faith. He is love himself. And we cannot love another person unless we first love God, because He is the author of love. And in your season of singleness, you need to let God lead, let God guide you, let God show you the plans and purposes that He has for your life, and follow those things and follow Him ultimately and love Him. And we want to be rooted in our faith, so even when that guy comes along, or if you're a boy watching this, if that girl comes along, we're not shaken. We don't let that person become our God, So we want to be rooted in Jesus. We want to love Him so we can love others around us better. And even in singleness, you're called to love people. You're called to love your family. You're called to love just your neighbors as yourself, as the word says. So I would encourage you to pray, pray, pray about your feelings. Pray about the plans that God has for you. Ask God what He wants you to be doing in this time of singleness. And just know Jesus deeper in this time. And also, take joy in the little things, like I said earlier. I really hope you guys have enjoyed my story, from heartbreak and naiveness to, thinking I was going to get married at 20. That was I thought, oh, I'll probably get married at like 20 years old. No, that did not happen. But God has a plan. He has a purpose for your life and my life. And we can trust Him. We can hope again for a relationship if that is something that you desire so desperately. I'm not saying that that's a guarantee, because it's not a guarantee. But we can hope in Jesus and trust that His plans for us are perfect. I hope that this podcast encouraged you to continue to hope in Jesus and believe for a plan and a future that He has for your life. Also, if you guys want to reach out to me and leave a comment below on this podcast episode, if you are on YouTube, you can do so in the comments below. If you're on a podcast platform, you can go to my YouTube channel and find this video. And leave a comment below about your stories of singleness, and also how you've continued to hope in the Lord and chose faith in your season of singleness. Any tips or anything that you would like to leave below, please do so, because we're all here for each other. As a single person, I love to get any tips or anything like that you want to give below. And I would love to hear your stories, how long you've been single, and how long you've been a Christian, and what your journey with Jesus and singleness has been like. So let me know down below. I would love to know that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully it made sense. And I hope you guys have a happy Valentine's Day, because that's coming up pretty soon. And that's what gave me the idea to do this podcast episode. But I love you guys, and Jesus loves you. Always stay rooted in Him. And I'll see you guys in another podcast episode, Lord willing, soon. Bye-bye, guys.